I'm 94 years old, and I'm going to say something most people won't like. I didn't get here by eating perfect, clean, or trendy. I got here by sticking to a few simple foods and not panicking every time someone on TV told me something new was going to kill me. My knees ache when the weather turns. I don't drive far anymore. My husband's been gone over 10 years. But every morning I still get up, make my coffee, and I know exactly what I'm putting into my body and why. That matters more than people think. I've lived long enough to watch Americans go from cooking real meals to arguing about ingredients they can't even pronounce. One year eggs are bad, the next year they're good again. Butter is dangerous, then it's back on the table. Meanwhile, people are more confused than ever, standing in grocery aisles like they're taking a test they didn't study for. I'm not a doctor. I'm not selling anything. I'm just someone who's been eating for a long time and paying attention to what actually keeps me steady, not energized for an hour, not impressed for a week. Steady. There are 7 foods I keep coming back to, not because they're exciting, but because they work for me, especially now. They're simple, they're familiar, and they don't make my body feel like it's fighting itself. And no, it's not some fancy list you'd find online. Most of it you've probably had in your kitchen your whole life and never thought twice about. I still start my mornings the same way, standing in a quiet kitchen, pouring black coffee into the same old mug I've had longer than some people keep their cars. No sugar, no cream. Never needed it. Coffee for me wasn't about taste. It was about starting the day without confusion. You wake up, you make it, you drink it, and you move. Simple. That's a life tip people overlook. Don't complicate the first hour of your day. Back when my kids were little, mornings weren't peaceful like this. They were loud, fast, and expensive in ways we couldn't afford. That's where eggs came in. Cheap, filling, reliable. I didn't read articles about them. I just knew if I fed my family eggs, they weren't going to complain about being hungry an hour later. Funny thing is, years later, people started acting like eggs were dangerous. Then not dangerous. Then dangerous again. I never stopped eating them. When something has worked for decades, I don't need a headline to tell me to be afraid of it. And berries, those go way back. Summers when I was a girl, hand-stained, eating them faster than we could bring them inside. Nobody called them antioxidants. They were just food. Sweet, a little messy, and honest. That's the difference. Most of what I eat doesn't come with a label telling me it's healthy. It just doesn't make me feel worse afterward. And at my age, that's about as honest as it gets. I don't cook the way I used to, not because I forgot how, but because my body doesn't wait around like it used to. Standing too long bothers my knees. Lifting heavy pots isn't worth it anymore. So I changed the way I eat, not to chase health trends, but to keep up with what my body can handle now. That's where fish came in. Salmon, when I can get it. Tuna, when I don't feel like fussing. Open a can, put it on bread, maybe a little mustard, and that's dinner. Nothing fancy, just something light enough that I don't feel worn out after eating it. That matters more than people admit. I still make beef stew sometimes. Not a big pot like before, just enough for a few meals. Back then it fed a whole table. Now it reminds me I still know how to take care of myself. And I don't avoid red meat like people say you should. I just don't overdo it. That's the part nobody likes. Moderation isn't exciting, so it doesn't get talked about. Yogurt showed up later in my life. Plain no sugar. Took me a while to get used to it, but my stomach told me it was a good idea. Same with pickles, the old kind, not the sweet ones. At this age, you learn pretty fast what your body argues with and what it quietly accepts. I'm not eating to feel young again. I'm eating so I don't feel worse than I have to. And there's a difference people don't understand until they get here. Some nights I'd open the fridge, stare at what was inside, and close it again, like I forgot what I came for. That started after Harold passed, not right away. At first, there were people around casseroles showing up, phone calls, noise. Then it got quiet. Too quiet. Cooking for one doesn't feel the same. You stop measuring things. You stop trying. There were days I'd just drink coffee and call it enough. Maybe a piece of toast if I felt like it. And you don't notice it at first, but your body does. You get weaker, slower. Not all at once, just enough that getting through the day feels heavier than it should. What pulled me back wasn't some big decision, it was small things. An egg in the pan because it was easy. A spoonful of yogurt because it didn't take effort. Tuna on bread because it didn't ask much from me. I wasn't trying to be healthy. I was trying not to disappear. That's what people don't talk about. When you lose someone, the hardest part isn't always the moment they're gone. It's everything that comes after when no one's watching, and you have to decide if you're still going to take care of yourself. Those simple foods didn't fix the loss. They didn't make anything easier, but they gave me something to hold on to, something steady enough that I didn't drift too far from the person I used to be. I still set a plate for myself, even on the days I don't feel like eating. That's probably the part that matters most. Not the coffee, not the eggs, not even the fish or the stew. It's the decision to keep showing up for yourself, even when nobody's sitting across from you anymore. Those 7 foods didn't keep me alive because they're special. They kept me alive because I kept choosing them over and over, on good days and bad ones, when I had energy and when I didn't. That choice adds up more than people think. If I've learned anything at 94, it's this: don't wait until everything feels right to take care of yourself. Eat something real. Keep your routine simple. Don't let fear make your decisions for you. And don't give up on yourself just because life got quieter than you expected. People are always looking for big answers. I didn't find mine in anything big. I found them in small, repeatable choices that didn't argue with my body or my life. And if this story felt familiar to you, or maybe reminded you of someone you love, then stay with us here on Old People Share. This is where we tell stories about life advice, stories about advice from grandparents, and stories about life lessons that don't come from books, but from living long enough to understand what really matters. Because sometimes the best advice you'll ever hear sounds a lot like something you already knew, but needed someone older to say it out loud.